When a phone shakes up a particular market segment, there's even more pressure to impress with an eventual successor. Today, that pressure lies with Xiaomi with the Poco F3. The Poco F1 was a seriously good phone for its budget. It had a Snapdragon 845 processor, which at the time was flagship. It had up to 8GB of RAM, 256GB of storage with microSD expansion. It also had 4K 60 video recording and the infamous headphone jack. But the Poco F1 was by no means a hands-down winner. It had some major downsides, but has Xiaomi managed to fix these with the Poco F3? As you open the box, the Poco F3 is front and centre. You're greeted with the phone face down, featuring its stunning glass back. Also included in the box is a 33-watt rapid charger and USB A to C cable. It's nice to see Xiaomi include this in the box because quite often it can set you back between £20 and £50 if you decide to buy it separately. Compared to an iPhone unboxing experience, I'd give the whole thing about a 7 out of 10, but for a third of the price it more than pulled its weight. What's missing from the box that was included with the Poco F1 is a gel case. Now, I don't see this particularly as much of a downside because that thing was destined for landfill, and you'd likely just buy your own case anyhow. The glass back looks great until you touch it. Now, it's an absolute fingerprint magnet. This is one of the reasons that I use a case, but the other one is because obviously glass is much more prone to damage than plastic or metal. The phone comes in at 196 grams, which is 14 grams heavier than the Poco F1 and 2 grams heavier than the iPhone 11. 200 grams for a device of this size is heavy enough to feel premium, but not excessive to cause fatigue during normal use. Now, the elephant in the room for Xiaomi devices has and probably always will be its MIUI interface. It has a very Apple-esque look, and you can see what Xiaomi was doing here if they're trying to entice iPhone users to come and try out their phones. If you do want a more feature-rich and customizable interface, then just go to the Play Store and search for Launcher and find one that suits you. I'm a very strong supporter of manufacturers who allow their devices to be unlocked. In short, what this does is it allows the user to pretty much customize everything about the phone, including installing a custom operating system. Now, I've done this, but it won't affect the performance of the phone or the quality of the photos or videos that I'm about to show you. The Poco F3 has 3 lenses. It's got the 48 megapixel main shooter, wide angle lens and macro lens.
As you would expect with its massive 48 megapixel sensor, the Poco F3 excels in daylight photography. The software isn't trying to do anything special with the colours, and these are very true to life in both sunny and overcast situations. It leaves a little to be desired in the wide-angle shots where the detail is lost, especially in distant objects. However, it does well with scenery as the main subject. If you can hold the phone steady for long enough, night mode produces some decent photos. It's definitely not the phone's strong suit though. I really do love using the macro lens on this phone. I've taken some really amazing shots both indoors and outdoors, and I didn't use a tripod for any of the photos you see here. This picture, for example, was taken when there was a decent breeze in the air, so the fact that it came out without being a blurry mess was a pleasant surprise.
Now back onto what differentiates this phone from its predecessor, or quite a few other phones on the market these days. It has a side-mounted fingerprint sensor, which in my opinion is a really good thing to see. It's cheaper than putting an underscreen fingerprint sensor, which would have increased the cost of the phone by around £20 to £50, but it's not a rear-mounted one, which means you can unlock the phone as it's sitting face up on the desk. Now, the majority of the time that's what my phone is doing, so it's nice to see it on the side. If I was asked what the standout feature of this phone is, I'd have to say it's the screen. It's got a 6.67 inch 120Hz AMOLED display with HDR support, which can reach up to 1300 nits of peak brightness. Honestly, the first week I had this phone, I just spent scrolling the app drawer up and down because of how smooth everything felt, and it really puts this phone way above what the price suggests it should be. All these specs are well and good, but if the battery can't last long enough to keep the phone operational, then what's really the point? Luckily, Xiaomi has managed to cram in a massive 4520 mAh battery into this thing, and from my testing, that manages to get me through the day quite readily, leaving me at around 15 to 20%. If I was having a more intensive day where I'd be away from a charger for a long period of time, then I'd probably drop the refresh rate down to 60Hz and also turn off the always on display. Compared to its predecessor, the Poco F3 has no microSD expansion, no headphone jack, and can only record video at 4K 30 instead of 4K 60, which was seen on the Poco F1. However, the Poco F1's biggest drawback, the invasive and hideous notch, is gone, and it's just been replaced with a small hole punch for the selfie camera. And if you're looking for water resistance, then you're out of luck because the Poco F3 is only rated IP53 for dust and splash resistance. But this phone is fast and it really packs a punch. During normal use it feels like a premium device. Animations, app switching and scrolling are all silky smooth with no delay, and this is in no small part due to the processor and 120Hz screen. Features you can't take for granted these days are Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.1, Dolby Atmos stereo speakers, NFC for payment including using Google Pay, and an IR blaster. Along with its proprietary 33-watt charging, it also has support for Qualcomm Quick Charge 3.0, which is nice to see as a more open standard. If you're in the market for a phone costing around £250, I really highly recommend the Poco F3. For my testing it's been amazing and it is my daily driver, so I really do like the phone. However, if you don't mind going down the used route, I'd recommend waiting for my Huawei P30 Pro review, which is coming next week. Thank you for watching, I hope this video was informative. If you did like it, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe if you want to see some more upcoming videos.